Hello, good people from the internet. One more day, thank you for tuning in. I hope you're doing wonderfully. Today I'm going to discuss the details of how this video for the song Alone came to be. So let's go. Well, when I started this video, firstly, I was in a period of a bit of a dry spell. The previous video, Acid Monkeys, took a lot of effort for me, and I was really satisfied. But it's like you finish climbing a mountain and suddenly you come to 3 and it's like, okay, now you have to climb another one. It was like, so I have to do another of these things, really. And this was going to be the 4th video, and I guess all the low-hanging fruit you could think of with a green screen, the AC themes, I had already covered them. So it took me a while to get in motion again. Perhaps that's a universal law. What do you do when you run out of beginner's luck and they go and get stuff, and at some point the ball becomes push. There's like a honeymoon period in every task. That's at some point ends, and that's where you decide what you really want to do. I see that a lot in a lot of videos I see in Reddit, for example. A lot of people who launch one video and then launch a second one, and you can see that second one has taken more effort, it's less natural, and then they rarely launch the third one. So there's like an initial period in every activity where you get like a bonus first stage, but then you have to keep on pushing. And that was at that stage pretty much with this video. So as a first measure, while I was deciding what to do and taking the lessons from Acid Monkeys, I tightened and formalized more my processes for video making. Because for audio I've been doing it longer, and my processes for making the songs are more formalized by now. I do my best. But for the videos, it was all very new for me, so I was pretty much making do with small text files with little knacks. But I knew that at some point I had to create a little machine so I could pass my ideas through it more easily. As part of this process of clarification, another thing that I did in that period was creating clearer deadlines for the videos. Having it gives you a reference point, because until now with the previous videos, also because it was very fun to do them because of the novelty factor, but pretty much in the previous videos the premise was it will be finished when it is finished, and it will take as long as it takes. This obviously is not a steady way of producing, and you are going to end up burnt out, as it was my case. So I took some time to dry run my processes and tighten things before getting to do this 4th video. It pays off really, really well, because once you get in movement, it's a joy. Things really flow much better. Okay, so on to the video. When I was starting this video, really the only concept I had was a vague idea related to the song of me turning into a ghost progressively or something, becoming transparent in some way as the story advances. I also had like a glimpse of a figure dancing during the riff, a blurry figure of some kind, dancing like something that had to be like mechanic or so. Armed with those vague notions, I started to record videos of myself dancing, and then I started to try out things for the video, always with a constant sensation, a bit of, to be honest, of an uphill battle. Always wondering, okay, are these ideas enough to make a video out of them, or am I just trying to produce water out of a stone? I started to try different things I could do with my silhouette to create the ghost effect. And I also had no idea of what I was going to do about the backgrounds. And then I discovered this thing called shaders that are like algorithm generated shapes, I think. They're very, very cool, abstract shapes, and there are a lot of them. I found them were a great resource to reach like a balance of the effort they took and the results you could easily pull off. And this kind of abstract backgrounds were very in consonancy with the idea I had for the video of the ghost, etc. So also, like, as I mentioned in the making of Acid Monkeys, that video took me a lot of effort because I investigated two new visual resources. So this one I wanted to limit it to one, which was the silhouette of the ghost-like effects. In fact, it ended up being two new resources that I found because I found two different ideas for the ghost shape that I liked. One, the blurry style of the ghost that is dancing, and the other, the parts in which I sing, in which I appear like transparent. This ghost, the ghost in the parts where I'm singing, the way it's made, it's like a combination of different levels of transparency. Three layers of myself with a slight delay and a slight degree of transparency for each, which creates an effect like of a tail. Maybe this effect is similar to the video Chop Suey by System of a Down, where the singer's shape is multiplied a lot of times. I wasn't thinking in this video when I was figuring out my ghost, but maybe it was an unconscious influence, who knows. So like I say, I had this vague idea of me becoming more and more transparent as the video advanced. And I'm happy of how this idea played out. The way I did it was like this. My main image, the image at the front, has like a glitch every now and then. So for example, let's say my image is at 70% of opacity. Then for a brief instant it goes to say 12% opacity, very transparent. And then returns to 70%. Now, the idea that I found while I was doing this, and I think I'm very proud of it, I think it added a very interesting storytelling element, is that in several occasions, after the glitch, the image doesn't return to the same opacity. It loses a bit. For example, if I was at 70%, then in the glitch I go to 12%, then I don't return to 70 but to 68. So what this does is that it introduces a secret narrative element. It's almost subliminal, but I'm getting really literally, as the story advances, I'm becoming more and more transparent. I think it works very well, and it adds a small element of tension that enhances the narrative of the story. Also, speaking of subliminal effects, for the background I have this crazy idea of using shots from a classic film by Roberto Rossellini. It's a movie called Paisa, or Paisa, I don't know where the accent falls, and that it's part of a classic trilogy about the World War II. And now the three movies of the trilogy are tremendously dark and somber, but this one I found it was the worst of them. It's absolutely dark and gloomy. It's like war equals shit. There's nothing good in it. And I don't know why. It's a weird poetic idea, I guess. I thought that these images, even for someone who doesn't know the movie, in a way they would affect the mood of my video. That dark content coming from a master filmmaker, somehow it would leak in my own video, in the context of my video on this song, and it's a sad song. For the Summer Is Gone interlude, that is slightly more spoken perhaps, I always knew that I wanted like a headshot, a part where I was like discussing more calmly. And then in the long interlude after that, I feel in that part of the song it's like stops for a moment, like a train that is changing speeds or something like that. And I wanted the dancing to show it. And the idea I found was the slow motion scenes of me running as the riff slows down too. And well, then for the final part, when the final verse comes, I always knew I wanted things to become more and more decadent and more transparent. So I introduced an element where the backgrounds start to decay and to decompose too. The way it is done is with the chroma effect, we're using it on random colors. I found it's an effect that it gives a very organic feel. And it looks like if the image was rotting or something like that. And then we have the two last scenes with my picture darkening and then getting still. That was simply a happy accident. I always like to keep those happy accidents because they tend to be things that look like analog, like celluloid-like. And I have a lot of affection for that kind of images because my formation years, after all, were my first 20 years of life were in the analog world, in free from internet, etc. And then the very final scene also has a bit of a tip of the hat to the analog world with that image of the old TV turning off. It was an idea that came during the process. I like it because I like the way in which it establishes like a balance that exists in the song between seriousness and insignificance. The song is very serious in the sense that it talks about loss, it talks about sadness and the passing of time, but also at the same time it's only one guy's experience. It's one simple guy in this huge world. It's very insignificant, if you will. So I thought the old TV turning off gave it a final touch of levity. That's the way of human emotions. In a way, they are very important. They are your whole world, but they are only one person's world, which makes them insignificant in a way also. So this is pretty much what I had for you today. Thank you for listening to these comments. I hope you enjoyed the video and the song too. See you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.